Could this really be an adaptation of the novel? A moment later, they were already surrounded. The guy raised his hand and said that before introducing himself, he would like to ask about these sound effects, but the man interrupted him and asked again, "What are you talking about? Could it really be about their battle cry? These people do the same thing when they get together to raise their spirits." The young man tensed up even more and thought that this was complete nonsense in this adaptation. Then he bowed down and said that he came to this land to meet the wisest centaur and ask him a question. In response, he heard that he really thought he was worthy of meeting the leader. Why would he talk to a two-legged person? At that moment, the brown-haired man smiled and said, "What is the difference between two-legged and four-legged?" He raised his head and added that he bets faster than them. Isn't that enough to meet the leader? The centaurs heard this and were very surprised. Then they began to shout that the man had challenged the captain of the guard. He went down to him and said that he would tell him the rules. The test subject determines the finish point. The winner is the one who comes first. The young man agreed and said that he knew their traditions well too. Then a servant came up to him and asked if he wanted him to participate instead, but the young man refused and said that as in the kingdom of the mermaids, if he couldn't cope on his own, he would be in trouble, and if his master won, he would get the laurels. The blonde was surprised and said that it would be difficult. He heard that the speed of a running centaur was comparable to the speed of a sword master. Lloyd grinned and said that only a running one. Then he looked at him sarcastically and explained that he was not going to run. Then he raised his hand and said that the finish line would be at that stone block 200 meters away. And the centaur began to shout again that he would make him feel the worthlessness of their kind. Finally, they created a running field for them and ordered them to get ready. Then they fired slingshots as a finishing sound. And the centaur took off, and the main character was far behind. His servant watched all this and thought that in this situation he could only win with some kind of trick, and immediately noticed how the gentleman took out his shovel. At that moment, it all dawned on him. The guy turned his back to the tower and activated the explosion. And then, thanks to the blast wave, he flew towards the finish line at incredible speed.